So you're probably wondering why I took this much time to record this video, but this is one of the most frustrating scenarios I've ever encountered in this game, and it's only been the beginning. It's the fifth scenario. We still have 7 more to go, but this had me pulling my hair in frustration, and it will be as overwhelming as it was for me as it will be for you. So I thought about making a little tips and tricks video on this one too, since I have already goal started. Look. So first things first, as soon as you handed the controls, pause the game like I did just now and do a little thing. See these barricades in the elephant enclosure. First off, you will have only 4 enclosures: the hyena enclosure, the African wild dog enclosure, the elephant and zebra enclosure, and the giraffe and springbok enclosure. So first things first, you will edit the barrier, remove it from here, like completely. Remove it from here. Just if you are wondering if the mouse is not working in the recording, if the cursor is not working, you have to exclude the entire lake, this entire lake, and put down the barrier on this landform thingies, like all around where this elephant is standing. This one right here. Just exclude the entire lake from the habitat. That's all. You can put this landform from this bush. You can edit it like this, so it is sort of crescent shaped on this side. Though I doubt elephants or zebras will go over there. But the point is, you need to edit out the entire lake. You'll see why. We'll get to that in a minute. Same thing goes for the giraffe enclosure. Pull the enclosures barriers right over this side, from starting from this rock over here. Go in a crescent form way and do it over here. Ignore what I just made. This is what I made stupidly. I urge you not to make the same mistake I did. Just make the barriers all the way around here, at least until the end of this. See, right here. Just exclude the lake from both the habitat thingies. Once you are done, you will be saving a fortune on purification units, water treatment units, and thus you won't be going into loans like I did. Now let's go to the requirements. Release any of the habitat species to the wild. In the beginning, I think you will be having enough adult giraffes or adult African wild dogs. Now see, you can only release them in the wild if the meter is in the green. The status they show, adult 8.9 years old. You can only release them or trade them off if they are in the green. And if they go in the grey area, it means they are old and they will die soon. So there's no point in trading them off or releasing them in the wild. That being said, build a transport ride with 700-meter track. This one is easy. In the beginning you'll see that this train thingy right here, it hasn't been completed. It's sort of left like this from somewhere around here, and the rest of the track is somewhere here up till this rock or something. So all you have to do is click on one end of the track, click on the edit track option somewhere. It's somewhere here. See, now the rides are going on, so you can't edit it in my playthrough, but yeah, there's this option. Once you open that, the dialog box will open down below, and there's an option to autocomplete. Only do that if you have the budget. It takes up a chunk of cash. The next thing is education rating. You know this by now. Put down boards for everything. Education speakers and education boards. Put down them at every enclosure. And same goes for the donation boxes. Don't slack on them, right? That being said, once you're done with that, I think the education rating will increase a bit slowly though, but it will. And then the 1600 guest ratings will be there. In about say 20 to 35 minutes after you have increased the education and stuff ratings. And the thing that actually got me pulling my hair in frustration is this. I'll show you. You can delete those vending stalls if you want, but I chose not to because it would have severely affected the guests' moods. Now look at the vendors. 26 vendors. Can you imagine how much their salaries would be? It was a nightmare, guys. Seriously, a nightmare. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this lake, right? So, you need to purify the lake because these animals are kinda stupid. They will drink from the lake instead of the water trough over here. Because the lake has an unending supply of water, right? And the water trough needs to be refilled. That being said, after a few days or in-game days, I would say, the water gets contaminated if you don't apply water treatment plants around it. And if you do, they break down periodically. So you'll always have mechanics running around and not paying attention to the enclosures. Because, let me tell you, lions are a menace. They might give you the highest appeal of any animal in the zoo, but they are a menace. They will damage the enclosures quickly, right? Like every year you have to repair them. In-game year, you have to repair it. The only manageable, I would say, species in the zoo was the hyenas. They didn't require much care and they would only fight if the gender ratio was a bit uneven, or for alpha status if there were too many males in the herd. In the pack, I should say, because herd is for grazing animals. Anyway, that's a fun fact for you guys. A pack is for canines like wolves or hyenas or African wild dogs. Herd is for grazing animals like herd of elephants, herd of buffaloes. Anyway, once you're done with 1600 guests, you already have 1000 guests in the game by default as soon as the campaign starts, so it shouldn't be that long before you get to 1600 guests. Just keep the guest needs in the green and put down some information panels here and there. Not information panels, I should say, information booths right here. That should keep the guests from going in the red. And that is it for bronze medal. Now you could stop here, or you could gold medal it like I did after pulling half of my hair out in frustration. Like I said, if you exclude the lake from both the, what do you call it, both the enclosures, you will be saving up on a fortune on water treatment plants and sick animals. It really does its job. If you want, you can also edit the walkway so the guests are like going from here, right here, so they have better viewing point, right? Anyway, that being said, for the silver medal you need to release any 4 of the species. By the time you get to silver medal, of course some animals must have bred and produced new babies, so you can release any 4 of the adult species to the wild. So it's not that much of a hurdle for you. Now breed, same thing goes. By the time you get to silver medal, you should have at least 5 or 6 animals having bred in your zoo. Education rating to 35% would increase because you have to adopt 2 new cheetahs. Now the cheetah enclosure, make it right here because it saves space and there's already somewhat of what do you call it, prop, environmental prop right here, so it adds to the scenery, right? And start researching on the cheetah because the other habitats already have enrichments on them, but the cheetahs don't, so you need to put down food and toy enrichments on them. That being done, hire a keeper and a mechanic or a vet for the cheetahs, because they too fall sick. They are delicate animals, critically endangered in the list, I should say. And one thing I forgot to tell you guys is this: appeal. Hire cheetahs with the best appeal. They should have at least bronze or gold medals on them. By the time you get to silver medals, you should have enough conservation credits by releasing animals into the wild. And if you release elephants, you get a chunk of conservation credits at once. Now if you ever run low on cash, I would suggest releasing or trading of adult animals. Like the Hind and African wild dog enclosure, they are always breeding, like always. They produce about 6 or 7 pups every year, so you have to trade them off or release them in the wild, the old ones, that is. That being said, it gets you a chunk of money trading animals off. Also, Go for the ones with the most appeal. Like this lioness is a huge appeal. Same for this elephant. Anyway, the more appeal your animals have, the better guests will come to your zoo, and the final thing will be easier to accomplish. This is what was keeping me from getting gold star for 2 days. Like, the rest is quite easy, but this thing, 2800 guests in the zoo. You can still see I've just reached the point and saved it yesterday, and today I'm uploading this video of tips and tricks. I just reached that point, 2801. Anyway, so for cheetahs you need to do the donation boxes thing and the information panel thing right here. Now for the gold thing, you need to release 11 of any habitat species to the wild. Same thing applies. When the cheetahs get older, trade them off or release them. Then read 8 new species, new habitats of different animals. For this, you need to go to the giraffe enclosure and do it a bit slowly though. Let the cash come in. You need to buy an African buffalo, a couple of African buffaloes, male and female, with the highest appeal. Same thing goes for sable antelope. It should be right here. Sable antelope with the highest appeal. And the wildebeest, black wildebeest. These 3 species are the ones you need in the African habitat of giraffes and springboks, which are there by default in this enclosure. The last thing you need to do is, not the last thing I should say, the final thing you should do before you sit back and just maintain order in the zoo is African lions. Now wall them off pretty high up because they climb up, and like I said, they are a menace. They will try to break the glass wall sometimes. I can't even imagine the number of times I have had to put out vets because the animal got out. Especially the young ones. They will get out. Now there's no young ones in here, I guess. But the young ones do get out of the cage. See, I have a mechanic right now fixing it. The enclosures always get damaged for some reason. And they take damage pretty often. So yeah, you need to keep a mechanic around just for this enclosure. Lastly, buy 2 hippos because you need the species, right? Species diversity. 8 new habitat animals of different species. Both of high appeal. So, and include this lake. So you only have to put down a transformer and a water treatment plant over here. That's it. Again, hippos don't require much, but they are always hungry. So yeah, there's that. Once you're done with the hippos, now it's up to you guys if you want to put the exhibit enclosures over here. The animals are kind of limited, and I highly suggest that you do not go for Titan beetles. Titan beetles are the worst. They die within an year or so. 0.0 years. That's the longevity. So they just die. There's no point in putting them in the cages. The first was the Brazilian salmon pink tarantula that I put out. The next was the snake enclosure. Diamond or something. Western diamond rattlesnake. This one was the Goliath frog. You already have one exhibit enclosure somewhere in the back of the building. Even there I put out another one. Right here. This one was mine, and this one was by default. I guess it's empty now. But yeah. That's the Antillean iguana. Not to worry though, I put the lesser Antillean iguana there too. So that I said was the Goliath frog. This one is the lesser Antillean iguana. And finally, this is the Goliath bird eater. That's it for the enclosures. Like I said, and I repeat again, do not purchase the Titan beetle. They don't live long and they'll just lead to empty enclosures and guests being unhappy and stuff like that. After you're done with this, just keep on maintaining order in the zoo and putting down information speakers and boards everywhere, and making sure that they aren't broken. Now, this many guests leads to a bit of them being little shits and breaking your stuff, so keep an eye out. Also, what else is required? Conservation rating will already go to 4.5 stars once you have released this much animals, so you don't need to worry about that. And the best part about this map, the only silver lining I should say, is that there's no inspector, so you don't need to panic about animals dying or being sick, because there's no inspector visits. The same thing now, the West African lions, once you have adopted 2 of them with high appeal, let them be in the gold thing. See, they should have a gold medal on them, both of them. Now this one doesn't have it, but still, she has a higher appeal though. And if you think your zoo isn't doing great, you can always start marketing campaigns right here. This leads to more guests coming to your zoo, which will already increase the required amount. That is, it won't increase the required amount. It will get them to 2,800, but it is a gradual process. So if you think scenario 4 was a test of your patience, this scenario is even more so. Like I said, it will have you pulling out your hair in frustration. And once you reach 2,800 guests, it's done. If you feel like you're lacking in funds, you can always take loans, but I would be careful about that. See, even I took loans. You only get 20,000 at one loan, and you have to pay it back with interest. So yeah, be very careful about that. That being said, see, let's summarize stuff. Let's summarize the stuff. Remove the lake from both the upgrades, both giraffe and elephant upgrades. No matter how weird it looks after you remove the lake, you have to keep it that way, because if the animals drink from the lake again and again, they will fall sick. And half of your money and cash would be spent in water treatment plants and curing the sick animals. So, point number 1, just exclude the lakes from both habitats. Point number 2, adopt animals with high appeal. You will need them in this scenario. It wasn't that necessary in scenario 4, but you will need that in this scenario. Point number 3, be careful with your finances, because when you have to pay off 26 vendors, your finances are sure to go down rapidly. So put down donation boxes everywhere, and information panels, so the guests are always in the green and they put down more cash in the donation boxes. Point number 4, be careful of the lions. They are a menace, and wall of the enclosure pretty high up. And point number 6 is keep an eye on your mechanics, because they sometimes will be taking a break all at once, and if a habitat is in urgent need of fixing and it appears to be broken, the animals will come out, and that will lead to your guests getting scared and leaving the zoo. So about 100 to 200 guests leave at once. I know this firsthand because the lion has escaped my enclosure many times. That's it, I guess, for this one, guys. There's no more tips to give you. You just need to be patient. More so in this scenario than in the last scenario. It's pretty much difficult and it sometimes looks overwhelming, but if you are a patient guy and you deal with it gradually, one problem at a time, I'm sure you'll be able to gold star it, gold medal it, or whatever. So don't worry and please play patiently. Don't rip out your hair in frustration like I did. I pretty much have a few balding spots by now. And don't do the stupid mistake like I did, putting down this right here, water treatment plant. Every time I have to repair it, and it costs cash. $2,000 gone every time. So if you just wall up the enclosure, you'll be saving a fortune. Just put down those water throws everywhere, because the more animals you have in an enclosure, the more water you need. That's it for this scenario, guys. Once you have gotten gold, it's worth the pain you suffered for it, I should say. Right? So that's it for this scenario. Let's just save it. And keep liking, sharing and subscribing, guys. I'm sorry this video was a bit late, but it really took me 2 days to complete this scenario. I really hope that you learned something from it and it helps you. And if it does help you, comment down in the comments section and give this video a like, and subscribe to my channel so you can get more tips and tricks on the other scenarios. Until then, stay tuned and take care, guys.